Good morning, if you stay. With this video until the end, you may notice something change inside your mind, not instantly, but subtly. The way you think in the morning, the way you react to stress, and the way your day unfolds. Because what you are about to hear is not random advice. It is a simple explanation of 10 Buddhist techniques that have been used for centuries to bring clarity, stability, and calmness to the mind at the beginning of the day. Most people wake up and immediately lose control of their attention. They open their phone, they react to notifications, they enter stress before they even realize it. But this video is different. Here, you will slow down for a moment and observe how the mind actually works in the morning, step by step, without pressure, without distraction, just awareness. And if you truly listen until the end, you may start to understand why your mornings have felt chaotic and how something very simple can begin to change that. So stay with this, and let's begin. Today we are going to talk about something simple but deeply powerful. 10 Buddhist techniques for starting your morning with clarity, calmness, and awareness. Not as rules, not as instructions, but as ways of understanding the mind and how it behaves when the day begins. So let's begin slowly, with presence, with awareness. We begin with the first technique. The first technique is gratitude. In Buddhism, gratitude is not forced thinking. It is simple recognition. The reckoning before anything else happens, before thoughts start moving, before the world enters your mind. There is a moment of existence, and most people ignore it. They wake up and immediately think about problems, about tasks, about pressure. But this first technique interrupts that pattern. It teaches you to pause, even for a few seconds, and notice that life is already here, that breathing is already happening, that awareness is already present. And in that recognition, the mind softens. It becomes less reactive, more stable, more open. That is the first technique, gratitude. The second technique is conscious breathing. In Buddhist teachings, the breath is always present reality. It does not depend on thought. It does not depend on memory. It simply happens. When the mind is fast, the breath becomes fast. When the mind is calm, the breath becomes calm. So breathing becomes a mirror of the mind and also a tool to stabilize it. This second technique is simple. You just observe your breath without changing it, without controlling it, just noticing it. And in that noticing, something important happens. The mind begins to slow down naturally. That is the second technique, conscious breathing. The third technique is observing thoughts without judgment. This is one of the most important teachings in Buddhism. Most people believe they are their thoughts, but this technique shows something different. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that notices them. In the morning, thoughts appear very quickly. Plans, worries, memories, ideas. Instead of reacting, you simply observe them, like watching clouds in the sky. They appear, they move, they disappear without needing your control. And slowly you realize something. You are not inside the thoughts. You are watching them. That is the third technique. Observation without judgment. The fourth technique is intention. In Buddhism, intention is not pressure. It is direction. A soft orientation for the day, not trying to control outcomes, but guiding your attitude. For example, you may simply think, today I choose awareness. Today I choose patience. Today I choose calm presence. This is not forcing behavior. It is planting a direction in the mind. And that direction quietly influences everything you do. That is the fourth technique, intention. The fifth technique is silence. Silence. Here is not only absence of sound, it is absence of unnecessary mental reaction. Most people wake up and immediately consume information, messages, noise, social input. But silence is different. Silence creates space. And in that space, clarity appears naturally. You begin to hear your thoughts more clearly, without distortion, without overload. Silence is not emptiness. It is awareness without interruption. That is the fifth technique, silence. The sixth technique is loving kindness. In Buddhism, this is known as metta. It is the practice of softening the mind toward yourself and others, not emotional exaggeration, not forced positivity, but simple recognition that all beings experience difficulty in different ways. You begin with yourself, with acceptance, then extend outward to people around you and even to people you will never meet. This practice reduces internal resistance and creates emotional balance. That is the sixth technique, loving kindness. The seventh technique is mindful movement. This means bringing awareness into simple actions, walking, drinking, moving your body. Instead of doing things, automatically you begin to notice them. Each movement becomes conscious. Each action becomes present. Even ordinary tasks feel different because attention is fully there. That is the seventh technique, mindful movement. The eighth technique is letting go of yesterday. In Buddhism, everything is impermanent. Not thoughts, not experiences. So what happened? Yesterday does not need to define today. Many people wake up carrying emotional weight from the past. But this technique teaches release, not by forgetting, but by not holding. Each morning is a reset point, a new beginning. That is the eighth technique. Letting into your awareness, especially in the morning, because the mind is very sensitive at that time. What you consume first shapes your emotional tone. If you consume chaos, the mind becomes chaotic. If you consume calmness, the mind stabilizes. So this technique is about choosing carefully what enters your awareness. That is the ninth technique, mental protection. The 10th and final technique is presence. This is the foundation of all the others. Presence means being here, fully, without drifting into past or future. In Buddhism, presence is not effort. It is return. A return to what is, already happening, breathing, existing, being aware. When presence is stable, everything becomes simpler. Thoughts slow down, emotions stabilize, and life feels clearer. That is the 10th technique, presence. And now we reach the end, not as a conclusion, but as understanding. These 10 Buddhist techniques are not steps to memorize. They are ways of seeing life differently. And if you understand them deeply, even without practicing them perfectly, your mornings begin to change. More calm, more aware, more stable. And over time, that changes everything. If you enjoyed this message, don't forget to subscribe. Your subscription is important so that we can continue creating content. I've also included several of our videos below so you can choose the one you like best and practice your desired meditation.